This video we'll be going over IRS Notice CP130. This is a notice that you might receive from the IRS if you paid an alternative minimum tax for a corporate tax return and the IRS determines that you might be exempt from paying that tax. So I don't know how many people actually receive these forms, or these notices, but I did look on the IRS website, and there is still a landing page there for advice on what to do if you do receive this notice. So I figured I'd still produce this video. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the meat of the notice, let you know what you need to do, if anything, and then if you need additional information from the IRS, we'll take a look at where you can turn for that. So in the upper right hand corner, I recognize that this is a heavily redacted copy of this particular notice, but we'll go through the information fields that you would expect in this notice. So up here you can see the CP130 notice. You can see the tax period, the notice date, employer ID number, and then a contact phone number for the IRS. Over here on the left hand side should be your business's name and address. If you need to update your address, for example, if you relocated since your most recent tax return, you may consider filing the change of address form. For individuals, it's IRS Form 8822, but for business owners, that would be IRS Form 8822-B. And we'll put links in the show notes to videos and articles we've created on both. So let's take a look at what this says. So basically, it says that you might be exempt from paying AMT for a corporation, which is calculated on IRS Form 4626 and then usually attached to the corporate tax return. So this would be for small corporations, and over here on the right hand side we can talk about what the IRS definition of a small corporation looks like. So you would qualify for the exemption if the tax period that we're talking about is your corporation's first year in existence, or if your corporation's average annual gross receipts did not exceed $7.5 million for the 3-year period, or the portion of that period that it was in existence ending before the tax period began, or $5 million if your corporation only had one prior tax year. So in other words, if the average receipts if your average annual receipts did not exceed $7.5 million for the 3-year period, then you may not have to file the AMT form. And if you qualify for an exemption from the AMT, then you would complete an amended tax return, also known as IRS Form 1120X, as soon as possible. You do have 3 years from the tax return due date or the date that you filed the original tax return, whichever is later. So, and then there are additional instructions. You would delete the amount of AMT that was reported. You write AMT exempt on the top of your form, and then you would send that to the same address where you mailed your tax return. And if you already filed an amended corporate return, you don't need to do anything. If you don't qualify for the exemption, you don't need to do anything. But you do need to do something, meaning you need to file for that corporate. You need to file that amended return to qualify for that exemption. It won't just automatically be applied to your account balance. So let's take a look at what the IRS website has to say about this. So we do see that the page still exists. You can actually authorize someone like a CPA or your tax preparer to do this for you. You would complete and send IRS Form 2848 to the IRS. That would allow them someone to contact the IRS on your behalf if you have specific questions. And then here are a couple of frequently asked questions. If you completed an amended tax return, how would you do this? For an estate or a trust, what would apply? Well, estates and trusts are not corporations, so they're not exempt from AMT. And then how can I request that you send all future tax notices directly to our accountant? you would file the IRS Form 8822 and send it to the address shown on the form. So, although that seems kind of weird. But you can also use you can use that to update your mailing address. So if you want the IRS to send all of your mail to the accountant, then you would use your mailing address for your accountant, even if your physical address of your business doesn't change. So I think we've covered everything there is about the CP130 notice. Again, not a lot of individual taxpayers, but I do occasionally get questions from individuals who happen to be operating their own C corporations. So if you receive this notice, CP130, you now know what to do if you believe you're qualified for the AMT exemption for corporations. So that's all we have for this video. If you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. If you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, we will put links to relevant to resources we've created on relevant tax forms in the show notes. And if you have any questions, comments, or if you have an idea for an upcoming video, please hit me up in the comments section. Thank you very much and have a great day.